It's your $2 Tuesday movie critic, and I'm watching the Oscars tonight, like many people probably are. And before the Oscars come on, I normally have, actually, it's about on now, but I have my television on pause because I wanted to talk about a few of the movies that I did watch that were Oscar contenders, not necessarily for Best Picture, but they were up for nominations. And I just want to talk about them for a minute or two. And then I'm not even going to do any of the comparisons with others. I'm just going to do that real quick and go back to watching the Oscars. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Mudbound. This is on Netflix exclusively. It is a most beautiful movie, tragic movie, an ugly movie, wow, dramatic, compelling, wonderful movie. There's so many things I could say about this movie. I mean, when I saw it for the first time, I could not watch it again. And it wasn't because it was a terrible movie, it was because it was so real and so gut wrenching. And in some places, so unbelievable. At the same time, it's things that, were well alive and well back during that time period. This was during the midst of World War II, and there are two families living in this town, and one family basically owns the property of the other that the other family is living on, and the other family is working for that family. Now the one family is a white family. They own it. It's the husband and his wife and their kids, and then the grandfather is there as well. And then there is the other family, which is the black family that are sharecroppers for the most part. You have the father and the mother and their children and their oldest son, which goes off to war to fight. And he works with tanks. He actually is a tank mechanic, and I think he actually does to drive the tank. But he does a lot. He does things to be proud of in the military. And while he's there in Germany, he finds that it's a whole new world, a world where he's respected by the work that he does and by his ethics and by who he is, and not by the color of his skin. And I get emotional about this movie just talking about it because it was so, wow. When you see it, if you see it, you'll know what I mean. There are just so many words to describe this movie. It and it was just a really hard movie to watch in some parts, and but it was the reality during that time. So Mudbound is up for Best Supporting Actress, Mary J. Blige, and she plays the matriarch of the black sharecropping family. She plays Florence Jackson. Now, Mary J. Blige does an excellent turn in this movie. One of the things I love about her character is she's a very strong woman, but at the time, she has to be very meek and very humble. And her strength has to always be inner strength, and she has to carry that in her way to not only support her children but also to keep her husband, strong himself, because there's a lot to go on. She has a lot of weight on her shoulders, and she does this part just so beautifully. And it could have easily been she could have easily been over dramatic with it, or probably played it not strong enough, but she did a perfect job with it, to the point where you don't even realize it's Mary J. Blige. She looks completely different from the Mary J. Blige you see singing, glamour girl, of course, because this movie, she couldn't do that. But even her facial features, the way she carries herself, so different, and it is just so beautiful, and I love the way she does that. And again, for me, I think she was the best person for this part. I don't see anyone else doing this part as well as she did, especially with the characters, the associative characters that she was in the in the movie with. So excellent job. She's up against quite a few other high contenders. I honestly think this is Lori. Gonna go to Lori Metcalf for political reasons, but I think that Octavia Spencer's for The Shape of Water and did an excellent job as well. I didn't see The Phantom Thread or I, Tanya, so I can't speak on those. I do believe that Mary J. Blige was just as good of a supporting actress as Octavia Spencer. I actually believe that she could have gone as the best actress in this role, but I think they did that, that she'd have a better chance of winning. So it was an excellent movie. It's also up for, it's not just up for that, it's also up for Best Adapted Screenplay because it's based on a novel by Hilary Jordan. Um, it was, I didn't read the book, so I can't speak on that, but it was beautifully done. It was so beautifully done and so real. In some points, too real, honestly. So yeah. And it's up against again some high contenders. I have not seen any of the movies that it's up against, so I can't speak on those. I just know that if it wins, it would definitely deserve to win. The movie, if it won, it would definitely deserve it because it was a beautiful movie. Uh, it's also up for Best Original Song, a song, Mighty River, that is performed by Mary J. Blige. She also wrote part of it with Raphael Sadiq and Tara Stinson. And I don't know if Raphael Sadiq is going to sing with her on Oscar night. I know she's going to be performing the song, but I don't know if he's going to be performing with her rather, because he has a wonderful voice as well. Um, I have not heard the song. I am looking forward to hearing the song, along with all the other Oscar contenders for Best Original Song in a Movie. I would love to see it. So that is, and it's also up for Best Cinematography. I like the cinematography in this movie. I have to say the best, though, for me was The Shape of Water still. And it's just because, there was a bit of changing scenery sections because this was at three different different locations. At one point, it was a beautiful atmosphere. I think they wanted to show the difference between a beautiful town, nice scenery, bright and sunny place, as opposed to where they ended up all living in Mudbound, which was wet, dark, danky for the most parts. And also what was going on in Germany, where the sun was at war, and how different that atmosphere was as well. And I have to say, it wasn't a huge difference in the scenery, or I should say the natural scenery, as much as they tried to do a difference with the buildings and the people, the way they dressed and things like that. So a cinematography, I still think that the best is The Shape of Water. So, but they did a good job as well trying to show the differences and the different locations. All right. So, real quick, I also wanted to go over two other movies that are also up for Best Animated Short Film. I saw both of these movies. One, Garden Party, which I don't think should win, only because this is by Victor Kerr and Gabrielle Graperin, because it was not animated. It was a live action movie. I don't know how I got into the Best Animated Short Film category unless I looked several times to make sure. And yes, it is up for an Oscar for Best Animated Short Film, but it was live action. Also, the movie Revolting Rhymes by Jacob Chew and Jan Lashore. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing those wrong, and I apologize. This short film was in two parts. I found it on, I think it was HBO on demand, and on one of those on-demand networks. And it was very nice. I don't know why it's called Revolting Rhymes. I guess because they kind of like go against the grain with the way the nursery or the shorts, the stories were written and the fairy tale stories were written. And they do something totally different. And I liked it though. It was a very nice, very well done. I like the fact that the wolf had a different part, but almost the same. And then you had like the characters of the wolf. You had Little Red Riding Hood. You had Snow White. There was Cinderella, and all of these characters had some very. You had Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. So you had these characters that were doing things different from what you would originally read about in the fairy tale books. Very well done. I really enjoyed it, but the name kind of like threw me off, honestly. So I liked it. I didn't get to see the others, so I can't do a comparison. But I hope it wins because I really enjoyed it. Of course, it's up against some hot big contenders, so we'll see what happens. So that's all I have. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the Oscars, and I will see you next time.